back to my kitchen. My name is Siobhan Sweet and today I'm going to show you how to make a fresh pasta dough using plain flour. Now some people use 00, but this is a really good recipe when you're using plain flour. So 200 grams of plain flour in the bowl. We've got a large pinch of salt, 2 eggs and an egg yolk, and some olive oil. Now, depending on the size of your eggs, depends on how much olive oil. So it's approximately about a gram of olive oil goes into that. I'm going to put that onto the machine. Now you can do this by hand and just give it a really good knead, but the machine's going to do all the work today for me as I'm going to get on with the fillings. And then we're going to leave that for about 5 minutes with a dough hook. Taken about 7 minutes, and what we're looking for is a nice stretchy elasticity dough. Okay, and we're going to flatten that down. Now top tip, make sure this is flat. If it's not, you're not going to be able to get that through the machine, you're going to have to work it again. So what we're looking for, it should be nice and stretchy. So pop that down there. Now this can be used for cannelloni, lasagna, ravioli, spaghetti, any of those things. And that's a really simple dough. I'm going to pop that in the fridge now for 30 minutes and then it's ready to use. So we're going to make the filling for the cannelloni. So we have some washed spinach, 400 grams of washed spinach. We've got 500 grams of ricotta cheese. We're going to use half a lemon zest, a tiny bit of garlic just to bring out the flavour, not too much garlic, and 15 grams of butter, salt and pepper. So I'm going to put that into the pan now. So what we're going to do is add the 15 grams of butter into the pan. Now you just want to melt this, don't go too mad with it. I'm going to just add the salt and pepper in there as well. So once that's melted, we're just going to add in the lemon zest. Just be careful when you do the zest, you just want to take off the outside. If you start to go white, then you're going to be too bitter, so it's just the zest. Put that in there, and then we're going to add a little bit of garlic. Now, not too much garlic, this is just to add a tiny bit of flavour. So just grate a little bit of garlic into there. Then we're going to turn up the heat, and then we're going to add the spinach. And what we want to do is just make that wilt. We're just going to what's called wilting the spinach. So it looks a lot, but in a minute that'll go down. Just give that a little stir. And you'll see it start to steam, and that's what we're looking for. So you can see that starting to shrink down with all the steam coming out of it. So you can see now that's wilting nicely now. Just get rid of that steam. We don't really want any moisture, and that's what we're looking for. Cook the moisture out. About another 30 seconds and that'll be ready. Okay, so that's ready now, and what we're going to do now is just pass that into a sieve, and we want to just get the moisture out of that. And we're going to let that cool down. You can see already there. We want it really nice and dry. So once your spinach is cool, we're going to put it onto a chopping board, and we're just going to chop it through. So that's ready now. It's really important to make sure that is really cold before adding it to your ricotta cheese. So I'm just going to pop that into the cheese and just mix that together. So now that's all mixed together, we're just going to taste it. Final taste for seasoning. I think that needs just a fraction more black pepper, and now that is ready. So I'm going to divide that into 2 mixes because I love smoked salmon. So you could add some smoked salmon to here. So I'm just going to take half out into a piping bag first. And I've got 200 grams of smoked salmon. Now you can add anything you want to this, but I just love smoked salmon. fold that through, and that's going to go into the fridge as well. So pop that mix in here. Then have our two mixes ready for our cannelloni. So now we're going to make a simple tomato sauce for our cannelloni. We've got some olive oil here, 20 grams, an onion, a celery stick, 1 whole clove of garlic, 400 grams of tinned tomatoes. We've got a tomato paste, 20 grams, salt and pepper, and white wine vinegar and sugar, 4 grams of each. We're going to finish it with that. So I've just got a pan on a medium heat. I'm going to add in the olive oil. Just let that heat for a second. Then we're going to sweat off the onions. Now your celery goes in. Garlic in there. So just leave that now for 2 minutes. You don't want to overcook them, just soften them. Tomato puree, and just cook that out for a minute. So now we're going to add tinned tomatoes. We're going to season that with salt and pepper. And we're going to leave that now for about 20 minutes just to simmer and dry out a little bit. So that's had 20 minutes now, looking lovely. And what we're going to do is add the white wine vinegar, the brown sugar, and we're going to give that another minute. And then once that's had 1 minute, we're going to blend it in the blender. So once your tomato sauce is cool, I'm going to put it into the NutriBullet just for about 30 seconds to make a nice smooth paste. That's your nice fresh tomato sauce done now. Lovely. So now we're going to make a simple bechamel sauce. We've got 60 grams of butter in the pan, 60 grams of flour and a litre of milk. So we've got the butter in the pan and we're just going to throw in the flour. Just give that a quick mix round. And then we're going to put a third of the milk into there. Now remember, this is a very quick bechamel sauce. And then bring that up to the heat, to the boil. So you'll start to see it thicken, and then you can add the next third. And just make sure you go right round the edges. So you're going to add your salt and pepper. Just give that a mix round. We're just going to add the last bit. Now I always just save a little bit back just to make sure it's not too thin. So add the last of the milk and leave that now to simmer for about 3 or 4 minutes. So the last thing to do is just check seasoning if you want any more salt and pepper, and that is your simple bechamel sauce made. So our pasta's been resting for about 30 minutes now. We're going to cut that in half. So we're going to put that through the machine now. Now it's really important to work as quick as we can because we don't want this drying out. Well, remember to put your handle in properly. So what we're going to do now is take it down. I love all these live videos. So we're going to take it down a notch, and then we're going to pull that through as quick as we can, making sure your handle stays on. Just a tiny bit of flour. Now I don't want to put too much flour on, just a fraction, that's all, because we don't want this drying out. Pop that through, take it down a notch. Take it down again. This is where it starts to get tricky when you're on your own, because you want to feed it through, but you don't want it sticking, and you haven't got enough hands now to pick that up. Cut. Okay, see, you can still make pasta on your own in the kitchen, even with the handle dropping off. I'm going to spread that out now. I've got a tiny bit of flour on the table, I don't want too much on there. Okay, so that's ready to cut now. So I'm going to use my smoked salmon filling here. Now, just a quick note about pasta machines, that mine goes down to number 7 now. Sometimes they go the other way around. So what you're looking for is a really nice, thin, not too thin, but fine pastry to work with. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water down one edge. And the reason we do one edge is because if you make the other edge wet, they're going to slide where this is just going to stick. We just want the edge to stick to it. I'm going to trim off this edge here, just to square it up, and then I'm going to pipe this right down the centre. Keep it nice and fat as we go. Right to the end. And then we're just going to roll that over. Now you might want to use your palette knife just to get underneath it as you roll. And that will then just stick to your next layer. So just curl that over. Just be careful, you need to work quite quickly because it might just stick to your bench. So I'm just going to use my pastry brush and cut them all, get them all ready. We're going to get the sauce in the dish now, and then we're going to put it all together. So I'm going to put a nice base on the bottom of my tomato sauce. Save some for the top, don't go too mad. Just spread that out. And then we're going to layer the cannelloni on top of that. Now you need to make sure you leave a little gap just in between the cannelloni, because when that pasta cooks it's going to expand slightly, so we just want to leave a little gap. Pop those in there. So that's those ones done. I've got my spinach, ricotta and black pepper, so I'm going to roll some more pasta out, put those in the side there, and I'll show you the next stage. So all we need to do now is put the bechamel sauce on. So I work from the edges, just keep it nice and clean. Now, really, really important, we must cover all the pasta, because what we're doing, we're protecting it from the oven, and we don't want it to dry out. So every little bit of pasta has to be covered over with the bechamel sauce. And the oven is on 180 degrees, and we're just going to bake that. So once we've covered that, we don't want too much sauce on there, but just enough to cover up. So you can see all that's nicely covered now, and we're just going to finish off with a stripe down the middle of the tomato sauce. And then we're going to cover that with some lovely cheese. That's our cannelloni ready to go in the oven. So that's ready now. Bring that out. Gorgeous. So I'm just going to leave that to set for 5 minutes, and then we're going to plate up. So we're just going to finish this off now with a little bit of olive oil. Just drizzle that over your salad. And then a touch of basil. It's got some fresh basil on there. And there we have cannelloni. I'm just off out to the garden to eat this now. Thanks very much for joining me. See you on the next one.